So as part of my series all on lesser known grape varietals and wine regions, I wanted to flip the script and talk about some fortified wines today. So one of my favorites, and it is lesser known than your typical ports from the mainland of Portugal, as well as sherries from Spain, and that is Madeira. And Madeira is such a delicious fortified wine, and it's really rich in history. So I'm just gonna give a quick overview. There's so much to talk about when we are discussing Madeira, but I'm gonna try to keep it brief today. So let's get started. Okay, so Madeira is made from the island of Madeira, which is actually a Portuguese island, but it's situated about 300 miles off the coast of Morocco in the Atlantic. And the reason why it's so cool in history is that it was kind of known as being the wine of the sea. And that's because in the 16 and 1700s, when a lot of ships were making trips to and from the Americas and the East Indies and England, a lot of wine during that transport would spoil. And so what a lot of people had to do is they had to fortify the wine with spirits like brandy in order to keep it from spoiling during those voyages. And so that is how Madeira kind of got its start, because the island of Madeira was it became a stopping point for ships to pick up wine to go to and from the Americas, the East Indies, and England. And so they would fortify the wine. But then what they noticed is that with those trips, especially through the Caribbean, where the temperatures were constantly, going up and down on the boat, it actually would intensify the flavors and complexity of the wine. And so the island of Madeira started to make wine, or to make its fortified wine, using this heating process. And this was kind of one of those happy accidents, because the heating process during the trips of these ships is what really made this wine special. And so Madeira started using this heating process in the production of Madeira, known as estufagem. And I know I'm pronouncing that wrong, but it's a heating process that basically sets it apart from how you typically see ports being made and how you typically see sherries being made in the fortified world. So that's kind of what sets Madeira apart from these other fortified wines. And there's different styles of Madeira. So you have single varietal Madeiras, you also have blended style Madeiras, and within each of these different styles, you have a bunch of different categories. You can have a vintage Madeira or a non-vintage Madeira. Typically with a single varietal Madeira, it's going to be more expensive and more high quality. And then with the blended Madeiras, which is using a variety of grapes that you would find in Portugal, you're going to be able to find a more affordable Madeira, and it's going to be fairly lower quality than your single varietal Madeiras. As far as what you're getting on the flavor and on the nose, there's a lot of toasted nuts as a flavor component in Madeira. You're going to get some caramel, some toffee, some stewed fruit. And, it is, for me, I find it very similar to a port, but for me, it's a little lighter bodied and it's a little floral, and it's really got just a lot of fun aromatics coming into play. And it's a little lighter on the palate than a port is, say a tawny port, in my opinion. But it's a great aperitif to have after dinner, just as a sipper. And then also it just makes a great dessert wine to have virtually with anything sweet. So that's a quick overview of Madeira. Like I said, there's so much more to talk about. I'll put in the comments the different grape varietals that are used in Madeira, just to kind of keep this video brief and not to have a huge rundown of all the grapes, but I'll put that in the description of this video. And then hit me up if you have any favorite producers and if you're a fan of Madeira. That's it. I'm gonna go finish this glass. Okay, bye.